Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today, for our number talk, we are looking at these two decimals, trying to decide if the difference is less than or more than 4. Before we solve this, go ahead and take a moment, try to figure out the answer, and then we'll come back together and look at our work together. So there are a few different ways that we can solve this, and I want to use mental math. So I don't want to necessarily line them up and use the standard algorithm, though we could do that. So one thing I'm thinking of is a strategy called compensation. That's not the only way to solve it, but it is one way in which we can use numbers in our head to quickly solve answers. So what that means is we want to change one or possibly both of these numbers into something that's a little bit more friendly so that we can subtract them mentally. And I'm looking at my decimals. I'm looking at 6/10 and 8/10. And the issue is the 8/10 is larger than the 6/10, so we're going to have to regroup. So what if I just added 2/10 here? So, all right, so if I just add the 2/10 there, well, now I'm going to get 8 and 8/10. And if I wanted to subtract 4 and 8/10 from that, well, that's pretty easy, right? That's 4 and 8/10. But I actually didn't subtract from what I was supposed to. I added an extra 2. So in order to make that work, on the back end, what I need to do is I need to subtract that 2. And that's a little bit easier to mentally do because, I mean, you would have to regroup if you wanted to use the standard algorithm, but you could also look at it like 40 minus 2. Oh, that's just going to be 38. Let me just put that decimal back in. So it does look like it's less than 4, and I used compensation. Now, a different way that we can use compensation is we can add the same number to both, right? So what happens if I were to do this? I want to add a 0.2, and I want to add it over here to this number because I know that that is 2/10 away from the next whole number. And if I could change this to a 5, that's really easy to subtract from. So instead of just adding it to 1 and then having to subtract it from your answer, if you add the same thing to both, then you don't have to do any extra calculations at the end. So you can change both of these numbers, shift them up by 2/10, and look how easy this is to subtract mentally, right? Because you see in the 10th place it's an 8 minus 0, and it's 8 minus 5. There's no regrouping necessary. So you can use compensation to shift one or both numbers to numbers that are easier to subtract with. Any way you look at it, the answer is going to be less than 4.